Hello, this is Storybooks channel. New videos are posted every day. Subscribe and click the bell.
A wonderful woman, Anna, worked as a midwife in the maternity hospital for more than 10 years. She was a real expert and professional. Many women tried to get only to her, as they were sure that the birth would go without a hitch. Anna loved her work very much. Each case passed through herself, and was absolutely happy when she heard the ringing cry of a newborn baby and saw the tears of joy of a woman in labor. It means one more person on the planet became more. She was respected in the department for her talent and diligence, although there were plenty of enemies, as everywhere. Her husband was a talented surgeon. He took on the most complicated operations and literally pulled patients out of the dead, and they had been booking appointments with him for months. If in professional terms, Anna had everything perfectly, but her personal life in recent years did not add up. She met her husband, Sam, while she was still a student. The guy was studying to be a surgeon and showed great promise. Their love was tender and reverent, like a newly blossomed flower. The boy adored his Anna. He was driven crazy by her searing brown eyes and cheerful laughter, kindness and responsiveness. Anna liked that Sam is not by years serious and thoughtful. With him was interesting and reliable. After the wedding, the couple first lived in the family dormitory. They didn't notice everyday difficulties. They lived each with their own work. And in the evenings, like everyone else, they discussed how the day went, shared their experiences, made plans for life, and dreamed of children. The years flew by. Both their careers went uphill. The family got their own apartment and car. The only thing missing was the most important element for family happiness: a child. And with each passing year, this issue became more and more acute and painful in their family. At first, Sam treated with understanding and patience that Anna could not get pregnant for so long. He encouraged her and told her that everything was still ahead of her, although he did not hide the fact that he was looking forward to this moment, when he would become a father. For some reason, Sam always dreamed of having a son, a boy in hair. He often shared his childhood memories with his wife, how his father loved him, how proud he was of him, taught him everything, and now it was his turn to bring up his son. The woman was worried, ran to familiar doctors, took endless tests. She agreed to any scheme of treatment, tried everything, not once traveled to therapeutic mud resorts, but everything was in vain. The desired pregnancy never came. Sam also became nervous, reprimanded her. They often quarreled. Anna often cried into her pillow at night. God, why is everything so unfair? Every day I help other people's babies to be born, but I can't give birth myself. Why am I being punished like this? Am I some kind of defective? Some people have abortions 100 times, abandon their children, and nothing. But here I would give anything in the world to give birth, and I can't do anything. She and her husband became more and more distant from each other. He disappeared late at work, came silent and tired, and often went to sleep in the living room. The couple almost stopped communicating, only on everyday topics. Somewhere evaporated tenderness and affection. Anna, from this, was so painful. As if neighbors in a communal apartment together lived together, not a husband and wife. The woman began to notice that the husband closes in the bathroom with the phone, and generally does not let it out of his hands. She listens half an ear, often interrogates. He became dreamily absent-minded. And soon Anna was informed about his affair with a young nurse, Julia. Our heroine cried, tortured herself. The woman did not want to live a lie. It was so vile. At home, a scandal broke out. Anna screamed in despair. I know all about your adventures. Good people have already told me. Are you out of your mind? Why are you embarrassing me? Everyone looks at me like a fool and discusses how you're having affairs with a young nurse behind my back. Do you even have a conscience? We've lived with you for so many years. How is she better than me, tell me? Or is that just the way it is? Are you trying to fool around with the young one? Why don't you say anything, like you've got water in your mouth? I'm waiting for an explanation. She hoped that Sam would get scared, apologize, leave his mistress, and they would live as before. Anna loved her husband and was ready to forgive him for this fleeting affair, but it was not so. The man looked at her intently and said, Well, since you know everything, it's even better. I love Julia, and we're getting a divorce. I know how it sounds, but I look like a traitor to you, and you're probably right to hate me. Look, I want a normal family with kids. It's very important to me. I hope Julia will give me that happiness soon. I'm leaving the apartment to you. It's only fair. I'll file for divorce myself. Don't be angry with me, Anna. I hope you'll understand." The woman was shocked at this betrayal. She screamed, "Sam, how can you do this? We've lived for so many years. You swore you loved me. I love you. Yes, I can't give birth. It's my cross to bear. Do you know how painful it is to take a baby in your arms every shift, to help it to be born, and at the same time to realize that you can never do that? But you could take a baby from an orphanage. Why not? After all, the parents are the ones who raised it, aren't they?" The spouse waved his hands. "It's all empty words. I'm my own baby. To raise it and see how it looks like me, to know that it's a part of me. Don't you understand? I could never love someone else's baby, I'm sure of it." Anna still wouldn't give up. "Well, maybe we should try IVF. What if we get lucky? Why get divorced right away? It's cruel." Sam grinned bitterly. "Anna, we're both medical professionals. Who are you kidding? What IVF? You know it's useless. You haven't ovulated normally in so many years. What are you talking about? I fell in love with Julia. Yes, that's it. What am I supposed to do? Shoot myself? I can't live with you anymore. Let's not torture each other. I'm sorry our family is gone. I'm sorry, I'm leaving." That's how they broke up with Slava. And the most offensive thing was that his Julia did get pregnant very soon and gave birth to a boy. For some reason, Anna felt even more bitter and hurt. When she first saw how the young new wife Sam rolls the stroller, and he proudly walks beside and even glowing, the woman wanted to immediately lay hands on herself, so bitter was it. This hopelessness was killing her. The woman went to work, got herself a cat, so that there was at least someone to hug and caress, and so lived alone since then. But every time she had to cross paths with her ex-husband at work, her heart still ached and clenched, even though it had been a long time since the divorce. Anna's shift today was very difficult. A woman was brought in by ambulance. She was giving birth in a shelter near a heating main among vagrants. She had a multiple pregnancy, triplets. Of course, the poorly dressed beggar had no exchange card, nor did she have any documents. The midwife examined the patient. She looked about 25, no more than 25. Her clothes were stale, but it was obvious that she had been vagabonding for some time. Her skin and hair were in good condition, and there were even traces of manicure on her hands. The woman was very frightened, holding her stomach and screaming all the time. Anna felt her abdomen, measured her pelvis. It was narrow for triplets, and one of the children was turned forward. It was clearly felt, which made the whole process very difficult. By all indications, she should have done a C-section, and do not break her head. For some reason, Anna felt unbearably sorry for this poor woman. She realized that obviously no one would come to her afterwards, and how to take care of 3 children alone after the operation. And she would need medication. The midwife decided to take the risk of natural childbirth and not to torture the woman's body unnecessarily. Although the nurse, Jenna, made round eyes. "You don't say, Anna. She'll never give birth on her own. It's obvious. Let's go for an operation, or what if something happens? We won't have any problems." The laboring woman was thrashing around on the couch and screaming in a voice that was not her own. "Oh, Mommy, it hurts so bad. Oh, help." Anna said sternly to the nurse, "Okay, stop panicking. We'll be fine. Get everything ready." Then she turned to the laboring woman. "Okay, Nancy, slowly. Let's get you on the chair. You're already in labor. You can't slow down. Your job is to focus, stay calm, listen to me, and do exactly as I say. Okay, trust me, everything's gonna be fine. Okay, 1, 2, push." Surprisingly, it worked, and within a quarter of an hour, all 3 babies were born one by one. They were as small as kittens, wrinkling and squeaking funny. Anna was almost jumping for joy. She had done it. She almost screamed. "Wow, I can't believe it. That's a good sign. It's not often in our maternity hospital that triplets are born, and even with breech presentation. Lucky all the babies weren't too big. We didn't even have to cut them. That's rare. You were born with your shirt on, mommy, and so were your babies. The nurse was shocked. Wow, Anna, how you dashingly turned the baby inside and pulled out. I would never have been able to do that. You're priceless. You've got talent. Nancy, why don't you say something? You could at least thank your midwife. She saved you from surgery. All the babies are alive and well. It's like you don't care. I don't get it. It's the first time I've seen such a reaction. Jenna snorted, walked out, and carried the babies away, and Anna took a closer look at the woman in labor. She was really behaving strangely. She lay there blankly, breathing heavily, as if she hadn't just given birth. Then she suddenly called Anna and began to whisper to her, looking around. Anna, me and the children are in danger. I'm not a stray, I was just running. I beg you to take the babies in for a month. I can't go to the street with them. I'd be lost there. They need care, and I don't have anything on me right now. I'll solve my problems and take them, I promise you. I heard you tell the nurse you're going on vacation in a couple of days. Help me, please, just for a month. I have no one else to ask. It's a matter of life and death. Anna was dumbfounded by what she heard. Nancy, are you out of your mind? Do you have any idea what you're asking? I don't know you at all. What if you throw your 3 children at me and just run away? How can I be sure you're not lying? It's such a responsibility. Children are not kittens. The woman in labor suddenly cried. Want help, will you? Then let them kill us. I'm on the edge. I don't care anymore. Everything inside Anna clenched. She felt now Nancy was not lying. And she agreed. Okay, I'll take it, all right. It's a shame about the babies. What should we call them? Have you thought of names? You, Mom, at least take them in your arms. Nancy brightened. Thank you so much. I'm naming the boys Nick and Alex and the girl Molly. I'll take the kids, don't worry. I'm just really confused right now. I'll need your address where I can pick up the kids. A day later, having recovered a little, Nancy disappeared from the maternity hospital, climbed out of the window, and ran away. When the staff heard that Anna had agreed to look after other people's babies, they discouraged her. Believe me, that cunning girl won't come back. We know her, we've seen her before. She doesn't even have a place to live. What does she need kids for? She probably got them from someone else. She delayed the abortion until the last minute, and when she saw the triplets, she ran away. She did not even take them in her arms, did not try to feed them. There is no maternal instinct in her, cuckoo. Why do you need such a burden? No more vacations with 3 newborn alien babies. We'll put them in a baby home, as it should be. The state will take care of them, since their own mother doesn't need them. I feel sorry for the babies, of course, but what can we do? Anyway, it's up to you. And only Anna knew why she did it. She could be a mommy for a whole month. Even if it's temporary, even if it's not forever. She will bathe and feed the babies, rock them, sing lullabies. Ordinary women do not realize what a grief it is to be childless. But in reality, everything turned out to be much more complicated than Anna had imagined. Not only did she have to spend a lot of money to buy the children at least the minimum of everything they needed: bottles, formula, nipples, diapers, a bathtub, powder, and so on. And then it was impossible to cover 3 babies at once. While I was feeding one, the other one was screaming in impatience. Molly was calmer, slept longer, and didn't get cranky. But the boys gave the midwife a hard time. The days were flying by, the vacation was coming to an end, and Nancy still hadn't come for the children. It was as if she disappeared into thin air. Anna realized with horror that the nurses were right and the tramp had deceived her. Where would she look for her now? Anna knew nothing about Nancy at all. The woman was angry with the woman in labor, resenting to herself. How can this be? Is her heart made of stone? Doesn't it ache and twinge, knowing that her own children are with a stranger? The girls were right, she is a cuckoo. But at the same time, the midwife caught herself thinking that with every passing minute, she was becoming more and more attached and began to love these babies. When she kissed their noses and held them close to her, a wave of tenderness and all-encompassing love exploded inside her. It was a different kind of love, different from that of a man, new, unknown, but no less strong. One day her apartment doorbell rang. The woman opened the door and was dumbfounded. On the threshold stood 3 pumped-up men, huge as cabinets, and behind them another, respectable, about 35 years old. He was clearly the leader of the trio. They unceremoniously pushed Anna aside as if she were a piece of fluff and walked into the apartment without even taking off their shoes. She became indignant. "Listen up, gentlemen. Who are you and what do you want here? Why did you come here? Maybe you have the wrong door? I don't think I invited you here. What right do you have to break into someone else's apartment? I'm going to call the police and scream. This is unthinkable." The bodyguards parted, and the important gentleman answered, "You're Anna, aren't you? You have my babies. I'm their birth father, and I'm taking them right now. You should be thankful you didn't call the police, or this could have been a very different conversation." The woman wasn't going to give up so easily, although, to tell the truth, she got cold feet. After all, in fact, she really is nobody to the children. And she had no right to keep them in her house. It was illegal. Nevertheless, she confidently parried, "Why should I believe you? How can you prove your paternity? I was asked to look after the babies, it's true. Their mother is in a difficult situation, but I'm not going to hand them over to just anyone." The man changed his tone and pulled some papers out of his briefcase. "Listen, Anna, I've done some research on you. You're a midwife, you're an excellent professional, you're valued and respected. You just delivered this. Nancy. And I've got no beef with you. I realize you're an outsider to this complicated story and probably don't know much. Let's start by introducing ourselves. My name is Jacob. I'm a businessman who owns a chain of supermarkets around the city. My wife and I have decided to become surrogates for our own circumstances. We went to a fertility clinic. Everything's legal, as it should be. And we chose this Nancy from the catalog, Dan her. I liked her immediately. She was young, healthy, all her tests were normal, and she already had her own son, so she would give birth without any problems. The fertilization didn't happen right away. There were 3 attempts. I can't tell you how nervous I was the whole time. I was worried that it wouldn't work. You see, for my wife and I, a child was our last chance to keep our family together. On the 3rd attempt, Nancy did get pregnant. Everything was going great. I personally followed her tests and her condition, bought her vitamins, took her to ultrasounds and examinations. I watched her nutrition and was happy that the pregnancy was going on without any abnormalities, despite the triplets. I already imagined how soon I would become a happy father and made grandiose plans for the future. But everything went wrong, and a month before the birth, this crazy woman ran away. Do you have any idea what we went through? I almost went crazy imagining in horror where my kids were and what about them. Nancy didn't even leave a note, and we didn't know where to find her at all. We had to hire private investigators, and after a month, they finally found the birth center where Nancy gave birth. Look at this. I have all the paperwork, the surrogacy agreement, and even a photo of our woman in labor. I can take any tests, make a genetic examination, and it will prove, without a doubt, that I am the father of the children. So you are a smart woman. You yourself understand that I have every right to take them home at last. He put a wad of money on the nightstand. Thank you, Anna, for looking after my babies and helping them to be born safely from the bottom of my heart. You've spent a lot of money, I understand. Tears choked Anna. She did not want to part with the babies, but she realized that Jacob was right, and she should give him the children. The woman sighed heavily and invited him into the bedroom. All 3 babies were sleeping peacefully on the huge bed. The landlady said, "Will you wait a bit? I'll feed them. It's getting close. I'll get everything together. Now I'll tell you what formula I feed them, how to take care of the babies, to make it easier for you." In blue overalls, this is Alex, in green, Nick, and in red, Beauty Molly. The girl is calm, there are no special problems with her. But Alex cries a lot. He likes to be rocked on his hands for a long time and sang a song. so he calms down immediately. How will you cope with 3? You're a busy man, aren't you? Jacob replied seriously. Don't worry, my wife is a housewife. We'll hire a nanny if we need one. I'll take care of it. Get the kids dressed. I'm in a hurry. Anna clutched the babies together, pressed them to her heart one last time, kissed their cheeks, and whispered, Goodbye, my sweeties. I'm so used to you already. I'll miss you. When the door closed behind the businessman, the apartment became empty and cold. Anna, with grief-stricken eyes, went from room to room. No one. Then she hugged the cat and fell on the bed. She still smelled of children, milk. The woman burst into tears. Well, that's it. I've been a mommy, and that's enough. A little bit of good. How can I live without Alex, Nick, and Molly? Like we used to. Can we do that? Already tomorrow is her first shift after vacation. Anna was getting ready, ironing her robe, packing her things. Suddenly the doorbell rang again. On the doorstep stood a panting Nancy. But now she didn't look like a beggar at all. She was dressed in a youth's walking suit, carrying a fashionable backpack, fresh and smelling of perfume. She flew into the apartment and started gibbering. Hello, Anna, how are you? How are my kids? Did they give you much trouble? Where are they? It's quiet, isn't it? I talked to my mom, and I'm taking them home. Anna was angry with Nancy after everything Jacob had told her and lambasted her. Good luck to you two. You've come to your senses. It's too late. Their real father came to pick up the kids the day before yesterday. Businessman Jacob. So look for them there now. Have a nice day. Nancy covered her face with her hands and cried. What have you done? Why did you give him the children? They'll be killed for sure. I asked you. I begged you. Anna flared up even more. You know what? Beautiful. Get out of here. You'll find out who bore and who ran away. Santa Barbara, my ass. Please leave me out of this. Jacob came with 3 guards, showed all the documents, the contract made with you. Honey, by the way, it says in black and white that you agreed to bear his children. So why shouldn't I give the children to the rightful father? Especially since you've disappeared without a word. You've got some nerve, and you're making claims on me. Nancy cried and said, I know it's all my fault. I should have told you guys back at the hospital. But I didn't dare. I thought you wouldn't believe me. I'm sorry to barge in on you from the doorstep. It's just that I'm very afraid that something terrible will happen to the children. They're really in danger. That's why I ran away. All right, I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you all about it. You see, I'm not a vagrant. I'm just an ordinary woman. I live with my old mom and my son. His name is Ethan. He's only 5 years old. We're divorced from the father of the child. He doesn't pay child support. He gave up his son, and I'm pulling everything on my own. I worked as a cashier until I got pregnant. A year ago, my son was riding with friends on a bicycle and fell unluckily, Kubaram from the mountain flu. Doctors did what they could, but alas, Ethan was left disabled. He can barely walk on crutches now. His leg is not properly fused. He needs expensive surgery, and it's only done abroad. His son suffers a lot, he cries often, and his leg hurts, and he wants to run and frolic like other ordinary children. But he has to stay at home without leaving the house. And his mother is very sick. She has asthma, severe attacks. Doctors divide their hands, recommend moving to live by the sea. It's a milder climate. You understand, on the salary of a waitress is not much accelerated, and on the operation is unrealistic to collect. I was in despair. I realized that no one would help my son but me. That's why I decided to become a surrogate mom. How else would I find such money? I registered at a fertility clinic, and I was quickly chosen by Jacob's family. Yeah, the rich guy really wanted a baby. He's a good man. They didn't have kids, though they've been living together for years. The husband had male health problems. The only way out was in vitro fertilization, with further transplantation of the fetus to the woman to carry it to term. But the wife refused. She was categorically against it, as her health did not allow her and she was worried about her figure, so let others give birth. I agreed to make a contract with this family because I was in dire need of money. It was my only chance to save my son. Jacob seemed nice and well-mannered. We made a deal. Everything worked out, though not from the first time. I had to go through a lot of things, so many nerves. And finally, on the third try, I got pregnant. But the businessman stipulated in the contract that I had to move to their family for the duration of the pregnancy, so that they could personally monitor my health, to see that I eat well, do not have bad habits. Of course, I did not want to be separated from my son for such a long time, but a contract is a contract. My mom said that it was even better, because how would you explain to your child how to get a huge belly? I told Ethan that I was going on a business trip for a long time. I promised to call her every day via video link, so I moved in. Everything went well at first, but the businessman's wife looked at me strangely. I didn't even feel comfortable. I tried to walk more in the yard or sit in my room, so as not to bother her eyes unnecessarily. I thought at first that Helen was jealous of my husband. Well, you must agree, not every woman is pleased to see how another woman is carrying her child from her own husband in front of her eyes. And then their cook, Wendy, told me all about it. It turns out that the wife did not love Jacob at all and married him out of convenience. She was just a singer from the cafe. You could say that she got a lucky ticket. The rich man fell madly in love with her. Helen eventually got used to living in luxury and, wealth, had a young lover, and children were not part of her plans. That's why she didn't want to bear them herself. Wendy swore that more than once she had seen Helen go somewhere as soon as a businessman went on a business trip. She came back late and tipsy, then chirped cheerfully on the phone that her donkey had no idea about anything, and her horns didn't fit in the airplane. I, of course, was shocked, but did not interfere. As they say, other people's family is a dark place, not my business. I don't know how rich people live and have fun. And when I was a month away from giving birth, Helen came up to me in the bedroom at night and whispered, "Get rid of the kids, you hear me? Here's a pill for you. Take 3 at night and 3 in the morning. The dead will be born prematurely. I'll make you rich. I'll pay you twice what the contract says. You don't want other people's kids, and I don't want them for nothing. And Jacob won't find out about anything. Come on, agree. You said you needed the money, right?" I was terrified and scared. I realize, of course, the babies are not mine. I'm only carrying them, but they are alive. How can I do this? And then, what will happen to me? I could die too, right? This savagery did not fit in my head, and I refused flatly. Then Helen hissed, "Look, you bastard. If you don't want to do it the hard way, I'll do it the hard way. Then I'll do it. I already hate them, and I'm not going to mess with them. Do you understand? You'd better disappear forever if you want to live in peace. Otherwise, you and those bastards will be in trouble." She left, slamming the door. My first thought was to run to my landlord and tell him everything, but he was on a business trip. He was supposed to arrive in a day. Just the thought of being in the house with this crazy woman all this time made me sick. I didn't know what she was up to. I hastily got dressed and slipped quietly out the backyard and escaped. I spent a month wandering around abandoned buildings. I was afraid to go home, so as not to jeopardize my family. I didn't know what to do. I was so scared, I can't tell you. Once dogs attacked me at night. It was a miracle they didn't bite me. I was freezing, crying, and kept thinking, what to do? It was a dead end. Find Jacob and tell him everything. He wouldn't believe me, I'm sure. I've seen how much he loves Helen. He'll probably talk me into going back to them. And then what? Helen's not going to rest. You should have seen the hatred she said that to me. I'm sure she won't rest until she gets rid of the babies one way or another. The labor found me at the station, and I wobbled to the lodging house, where I often warmed myself, and some kind-hearted tramps bought me tea and cakes. That's why I asked you to stay with the children. Where was I supposed to go with them? I don't know what to do now, to be honest. I've persuaded my mom to take them home for now, but she's shocked. She's scolding me. She says I've earned it. Instead of money, now I have 3 strangers' babies in my arms. And my son is still an invalid. And now that Jacob has taken the children home, I'm sure Helen will get rid of them sooner or later. She doesn't want them. You think I'm crazy, don't you? I realize everything I've told you seems like nonsense. But why else would I run away? I still need money for my son's operation. What's the point of running away? Why? I couldn't have raised 3 kids on my own. I was just scared for the kids. It's not their fault, but they could get hurt because of this Helen. Anna was shocked by what she heard. Now it was clear to her why Nancy was behaving so strangely. The woman decided to tell the businessman everything and warn him of the danger. She did not dare to go home to him. She went to the office. It was not difficult to find the address. Jacob was quite surprised to see Anna Sergeyevna in the waiting room and immediately called her into the office. "Good afternoon. What brings you to me? You're probably wondering how the children are doing. Don't worry, they're fine. Helen has turned out to be a wonderful mom and is doing great. And the nanny comes in to help her. I'm so glad my babies are home now. They are so funny. I think the boys look a lot like me." Anna exhaled and began the unpleasant conversation. "I come to you with bad news, Jacob. After you left, Nancy came back a day later and told me the reason for her escape. A month before the birth, while you were away on a business trip, your young wife threatened her, forced her to terminate the pregnancy, slipped her some pills, told her she hated those children and didn't want them. And when Nancy flatly refused to do it, Helen told her to get the hell out of town or she'd be in trouble. And your wife confessed that sooner or later she'd get rid of the kids anyway. She hated them. So Nancy had no choice but to run away. She feared not only for the children's lives, but for her own as well. She didn't even dare go home, so as not to put her son and mother at risk. She wandered around train stations for a month, slept in abandoned houses, suffered a lot, poor thing, and the labor caught her right on the street. The man was very angry. What the hell are you talking about? That psychopath told you something and you believe it? That can't be true. Why didn't she just tell me herself? I'm not paying her a dime. She has grossly violated all the terms of the contract, put the lives of my children in danger, so let her be happy that I have not sued her yet. It's ridiculous. Helen wanted to kill her own children. That's ridiculous. My wife and I are finally happy parents. Helen stays with the kids every night when I get home from work. What kind of hate are you talking about?" Anna parried. "Well, why did Nancy have to run away in the first place? Think about it. What's the point? It was her way of earning money for her son's treatment. The child urgently needs an expensive operation abroad, and this pregnancy was her only chance to earn that kind of money. But because she ran away, she never got the money. Don't you think that's strange? Why would she have 3 other people's children when she can barely support one of her own? I don't know, I believe her. She wasn't lying. Anyway, it's my job to warn you, and it's up to you whether you believe it or not. Have a nice day." Jacob shouted after her, "Let me tell you, I don't believe you." Anna left, and Jacob thought about what he had heard for a long time and decided to double-check everything. It was all very strange indeed. Nancy had behaved perfectly all through the pregnancy, and then she ran away. I mean, really, why? What did it do to her? Apart from getting in a lot of trouble. But Helen, how could she do that behind his back? It just seems so ridiculous. It's better to be on the safe side. You never know. So Jacob discreetly installed CCTV cameras in the nursery, the kitchen, and their bedroom. Everywhere the kids and Helen went most often. He figured it couldn't get any worse. It'd be a good way to test the nanny's honesty. There are so many con artists these days. He wanted to be 100% sure his precious babies were all right. He loved all 3 of them, the boys and Molly, and he couldn't let anyone hurt them in any way. He'd been on the road to fatherhood for too long. It had been a couple of weeks. In the evenings when Jacob was home, Helen was a model mother and they were together doting and playing with the babies. There was nothing to pick on. The man even wondered, Helen was with the kids all day long, and she looked like a magazine cover, makeup, hair, everything. How could she manage to do it all? A couple of weeks passed. The man finally had a day off. He played with the kids and put them to bed. His wife decided to take a nap for an hour, and the head of the family suddenly remembered something. The businessman, out of idle interest, decided to look through the records on his day off. locked himself in his office, and aghast. What he saw seemed to him to be something outrageous. A normal weekday. My wife took him to work and immediately went back to bed and turned on the TV. The children had been crying in their cradles for half an hour, and Helen was watching her favorite TV series, then reluctantly got up and only closed the door to the nursery tightly, without bothering to approach the poor kids. At the same time, she began to mutter aloud. Why do those backbreakers keep yelling? Why do they keep yelling? I'll go deaf so soon. I'm so sick of them. I can't stand it. Life has become a torment. I have to sit next to them like a chained woman. I bet their diapers are dirty. I can imagine the stench. When will the babysitter come? I'd sooner take care of the kids and go for a walk with them. I wish my eyes hadn't seen them all. And then Helen's cell phone rang, and she began to chirp in a very different, cheerful voice. Hello, my favorite bunny. Hello, my favorite bunny. Can I come? Of course I can come. I'm getting ready. And the kids? The babysitter will be here soon, so let her take care of them. She's paid for it. The main thing is that my donkey doesn't get wind of anything. In the evenings, I have to play the universal love. They make me so mad, it's horrible. They're clones. I can't even tell which one is which. His wife would arrive almost before he arrived, all radiant, her smile never leaving her face. She would immediately rush to the children, pretending to be a loving mother, and wail. How are my babies? Did you eat well? How did they sleep? Mommy missed you so much. Cindy, thank you for your help. You're free for today. I'll see you tomorrow as usual. I've got so much to do, I'll have to leave again. You'll be with the babies, won't you? And it went on like that all week. Just when my husband walked out the door, Helen would change, as if she were another person. It was monstrous. She was completely indifferent to the children and counted the minutes until the nanny came to get rid of them. It was all true, she hated the kids and only tolerated them, and really did not like them at all. Not only that, she was cheating on him too. What a twist. This was something the businessman certainly didn't expect to see. Jacob got very angry and flew out of the office with a bullet. The spouse was sleeping serenely, smiling at something in her sleep. He grabbed her by the scruff of the neck and dragged her to the monitor. She was screaming and indignant. Jacob, what's the matter? Are you crazy? How dare you treat me like this? I'll never forgive you. Jacob threw her on the couch and turned on the tape. Helen stared at the screen and her face gradually changed, growing paler and paler. There was no trace of her arrogance left. She only remained silent. The man shouted, Do you have any trouble explaining what I'm seeing? You have to explain what I'm seeing. What's there to explain? Personally, it's pretty clear to me. You're trash. It turns out you don't want our kids. What's more, you're cheating on me? I hate you, Helen. How can you do this? They're your own children. Your flesh and blood and mine. How can you not love them? You haven't said the words daughter or son in a week. You call them them. The woman first started crying and tried to twist away. Jacob, honey, you've got it all wrong. I'm just so tired. With 3 kids, it's a lot of responsibility. I don't have anyone. I call my girlfriend. I don't know what you're thinking, but it's not my fault. I love you and the kids, I promise you. Jacob looked at this disgusting woman he loved so much with completely different eyes and decided to go all in. That's not all, Helen. The surmother has found you and is suing you. She claims you threatened her, forced her to get rid of the kids, and made her run away. And she has proof of that. And she's got a witness. So you're gonna go to jail, honey, and you're gonna go to jail for a long time. And I won't lift a finger to get you out of there. Helen was badly frightened. Sweat came out on her forehead, and Jacob realized it was all true. Nancy wasn't lying, and the wife began to babble. She can't prove anything. It just can't be. No one could have heard that conversation. Nancy and I were alone in the house. Unless, could Wendy, the cook, have been eavesdropping? She's a viper. She went against her mistress. Jacob, I was only joking. It wasn't serious. You'll save me, won't you? I can't go to prison. I can't survive. Please save me. Jacob was amazed at his wife's cynicism. She had no remorse for what she had done. All she cared about was not going to jail. And the fact that because of her could die their own children, she did not care at all. He asked her, "Tell me, honestly, for once, don't lie, why did you marry me in the first place? Was it really just for the money? Didn't you love me at all? You're the one who was worried about us not having kids. Why did you lie to me? And why did you refuse to bear children on your own?" Helen suddenly changed her face, looked at him angrily, and blurted out, "You want to know the truth? Then listen. I have nothing to lose now. The only person I truly love is my lover, William. That's why I didn't want to bear your children, your children. And with William, I wanted to have a child, ours together. That was my dream. But you ruined it by hiring that street girl. All my plans went down the drain. I hated them from the beginning, okay? The whole time Nancy lived with us, I watched her belly grow and I realized with horror that I didn't feel like their mother, not even a little bit. Why did I marry you? Because it was my only way to get ahead in life, to get rich. You don't know what it's like to go from paycheck to paycheck borrowing money, do you? I tried to love you at first, I promised you. I thought I'd get along with you. But everything changed the minute I met William. He's the best, he's passionate, he's young, but he's not rich. That's why I continue to live with you and rest my soul with him. And I never wanted children with you, so I was fine with you having trouble conceiving. Everything collapsed when you, as usual, began to say that we were drifting apart, losing each other, thinking that the reason for that was the lack of children. I just played along so you wouldn't suspect me of cheating. And only when I started to observe Nancy's pregnancy it began to dawn on me that soon my and your biological children will be born. And I don't want them at all and will never love them. I knew it wasn't normal, and I tried to change my mind internally, but nothing worked. That conversation I had with her about terminating the pregnancy was more out of desperation. I was angry and I didn't know how to stop. I know it's horrible, but I could never love these children. Jacob was shocked and quietly replied, "Everything you just told me just doesn't make sense to me. All this time I've been living with a monster, a werewolf under the same roof. You're not a mother, you're a monster. It's a good thing I know the truth now. I don't know what else you would have thought. You're going to pack your things and get out of town right now. And I don't want you in this house anymore. Go to your lover or wherever you want to go. I don't want a wife like that. Do I make myself clear? We're getting a divorce." Helen nodded her head. "Are you sure I won't sit down? You'll take care of it, won't you? You can do it. You have connections everywhere. I'll do it. I'm leaving. I'm sorry, I really can't bring myself to like these babies. I look at them and I don't feel anything. They just annoy me. I'm not ready to spend my life with them. We really should get a divorce." Helen left and Jacob grabbed his head. Just a couple of weeks ago, he had thought he was the happiest family man and father, and now his personal life was shattering before his eyes, shattering into millions of pieces. It was very hard to realize. But he had no time to be sad and mope with 3 babies in his arms. Cindy had taken the day off. The children were screaming louder than the others. He was running around the house like a madman trying to wash, change, and feed them one by one. The house was a mess. Everything was just falling apart. Suddenly the doorbell rang. The man grunted, "Who the hell is that? This is such a bad time. This is the last thing I need right now." He went to open the door with Molly in his arms. Anna stood on the doorstep with a huge bag in her hands. "Hello, Jacob. I'm so sorry I didn't invite you. I couldn't resist. I thought I'd come down and make sure you're okay and the kids are safe. I won't be long, don't worry. Here, I brought some goodies for the little ones." The man exhaled a sigh of relief and was very happy to have a guest. "Anna, I'm so glad you stopped by. I've been in a bit of a rut. Come on in. Alex is crying all the time, hardly sleeps. His head doesn't seem to be hot. What's wrong? I don't understand." And then the whole gang starts crying. It's a madhouse. Anna washed her hands first of all and went to the bedroom. She undressed Alex and looked him over, then smiled and kissed him gently on the cheek. "All right, Alex has a tummy ache. See how tense it is. It's nothing. Boys often have it, girls less often. So run to the pharmacy and buy this medicine. We'll give it to the boys a little at a time. It'll help. It's been tested. All right, who's been naughty? Who's been giving Daddy a hard time? Oh, my sweet, sweet darlings, how I've missed you. Jacob went to the drugstore and bought everything, then came back and couldn't believe his eyes. Anna was ironing a pile of washed baby laundry, and the babies were humming in the bassinet. The man splashed his hands. You're magic. Wow, what a positive influence you have on the babies. Peace and tranquility in the house. Thank you. If it were up to me, I wouldn't let you go anywhere. Anna was embarrassed and then couldn't stand it and asked, I'm sorry to barge in here without asking. It's just that Nick needed a change of clothes, and I couldn't find any ironed washcloths. So I thought I'd help out a little, so to speak, as a friend. Where's your wife? Where's the nanny? Why did the women leave you alone with the kids? Jacob sighed and replied, Cindy asked for the day off today, personal problems. She'll be here tomorrow morning. And I kicked Helen out. We're getting a divorce. Nancy was right. Thanks to her and you for keeping my babies safe from that scary woman. After talking to you, I thought about it for a long time and still decided to be reassured and installed hidden cameras around the house. And when I watched the footage a week later, I was stunned. She really hates kids. I forced her to come clean. And she told me that she had really threatened Nancy, and of course she started to twist it around, saying that it wasn't serious. Not only that, Helen had cheated on me, and it was obviously not the first time. And I was a fool not to suspect anything. I loved her, took care of her. And after that, how can I live with her? I thought she was just like me, grieving without children and strives to find them. But it turns out that children were not in Helen's plans at all. I was just a bag of money for her, on which she had fun with her lover and lived happily ever after. Imagine, she was even happy when I told her to get out, quickly packed up, did not even look at the little ones to say goodbye, and took a cab. I guess she didn't need us at all. That's the way it is. Anna shook her head. I know it's hard when the people closest to you betray you. I know how I feel. My husband, knowing that I am childless, did not want to take a child from the orphanage and instead left me and went to a young mistress who gave birth to his son. I felt so humiliated and crushed, so I understand your feelings. But you, unlike me, are lucky. You have 3 angels. There is a sense of life. I would give anything in the world to have children. You know, I'll be honest, I got so attached to the babies for a month while I was sitting with them that I really believed that I am their mom. What a happiness it is to kiss their noses and cheeks. Children have a special aura. It heals the soul. Jacob suddenly looked at this marvelous woman in a very different way and replied, Thank you for your help, support, and understanding. You come to our house more often. Its doors are always open for you. The kids and I are always happy to see you. I just wanted to go for a walk in the park this weekend. I've already bought a stroller. You've seen it in the hallway, a whole train. If you'd like to join us, I can't do it alone. Oh, and I forgot to tell you the most important thing. Have Nancy give me the bank account number. I'll pay her the surrogacy fee. I'll throw in a bonus too. Now I realize it wasn't her fault. In fact, I'm grateful to her for saving the babies, especially since she needs money for her son's surgery. Only fair. I hope her son gets better, and Nancy never has to make money like that again. Anna also looked at Jacob in a completely different way now, respecting him for his honesty and integrity and sincere love for children. Nancy was just happy. Having received the whole sum on the card, she flew home as if on wings, from the doorstep began to hug her son and shout at the whole apartment. Ethan, my son, remember when I promised you that you'd stand on your feet and run like you used to? Well, I found the money for your operation. Mommy, can you believe it? The kid's father took pity on me, forgave me for running away, and paid me every penny, and a little more than I needed. Now we'll definitely cure Alyosha. Tomorrow I'll start calling clinics. Prepare the documents. It's all thanks to the midwife who delivered my baby. I've never met such people. She helped me so much and sat with the children then and talked to the businessman, convinced him that I did not break the contract on purpose. I will be grateful to Anna all my life. A month later, Nancy and her son flew to Germany and the boy underwent a successful operation. Then there was a long rehabilitation. But the most important thing was that Ethan started to walk on his own. Nancy often called Anna. They talked for a long time, and every time she ended the conversation the same way. "Thank you so much, Anna. God bless you. I will never forget what you have done for me. You are definitely our family's guardian angel now." Nancy and her mother decided to sell their apartment and go to live by the sea. They bought a small, cozy house in the village and moved permanently. It was their most cherished dream, to walk along the coast every day, to listen to the sound of the surf, and to breathe in the spicy sea air. The woman believed that she would begin a whole new, calm, and happy life, and her mother would surely get well. Nancy was right not to interfere in Jacob's life, to ask about the children or to try to see them. She realized that she had only helped bring them into the world, but the babies had very different parents. It was a hard decision to make, though, and she was determined that she would never earn money that way again. Anna and Jacob gradually developed a close relationship as they both adored Alex, Nick, and Molly and raised them together. Helen relinquished her parental rights to the children, signing everything herself. The couple got married, and now Anna became a mom of the kids legally. She did not hesitate for a second and adopted all 3 children. She had never dreamed of such happiness. She thought it was her destiny to spend her life alone with her cat. Now he has become a member of a large family and everyone's favorite. Helen went on maternity leave and devoted herself to the babies. She loved to play with them, sang lullabies, and selflessly stayed up nights when the babies were sick. Often did not sleep well, tired, but all these troubles were only in her joy. And Jacob could not breathe on his Anna, admiring how she has all cleverly comes out, and the house is clean, and children in the care, and for her husband time in the evening remains. The man now sincerely wondered how blind he had been when he lived with Helen. Why did he love her at all? And he thanked the universe that his babies had fallen into the hands of Anna. It was hard to imagine a better wife and mother than her. Anna was even transformed outwardly, although it would seem that she had a lot of worries with her children, and sometimes there was no time to look in the mirror. But she was so happy inside that her eyes shone. Her smile never left her face, and she looked beautiful even without any makeup. And when the kids first pulled her hands to her and said for the first time, "Mommy," Anna even wept, as she had been waiting for these words all her life, as she dreamed of hearing them. Everything went well with Jacob. He helped her in everything, and at night he hugged her tightly and whispered in her ear, "How happy I am to have you in my destiny. I will never give you to anyone." The woman swooned, clung tighter to her beloved, and often recalled the saying, "Everything that is done, everything is for the best." And in the maternity hospital, Anna's story was now passed from mouth to mouth. Everyone just wondered how, having sheltered 3 babies of a strange beggar, she was able to find her feminine happiness and find a rich businessman husband. Even Sam's ex-husband, having learned of this turn of events, sincerely wished her happiness. At last, he would no longer be tormented by the conscience of having done such a shameless thing to her. Earlier, when they accidentally crossed at work, and Sam saw Anna's eyes, full of inexpressible longing and hopelessness, he became uncomfortable. He had betrayed her, leaving her alone for the sake of his own personal happiness. Now the whole staff of the maternity hospital only whispered about how happy Anna was to be a mother, and what a good husband she had gotten. Let it be so.